Hi everybody, and welcome to video 1 in our series Winter Cottage. Now this is going to be kind of 2, maybe 3 little things, or one big thing and a couple of other things that we may do. So I really don't know how many videos this is going to be. Now this is a Victoria Designs kit, and I know some of you get upset when I do these because the kits are kind of expensive, but I do it because there's so many darn pages. But you can buy kits that have a lot of pages in them from Etsy, some winter kits and things. Now I'm filming this, believe it or not, in December. So my friend Natalie over at Line.Arrow has large kits. They're usually like 26 to 28 pages, lots of ephemera. Lots of pages. So you can go by her shop, which is Line.Arrow, all one word, and I'll put the link in the text below, and I'll also put it on the screen. Okay, so you can go to hers. She has quite a few larger kits, and you can go to Nonstop Paper Crafts, and there's a couple others, and I'll look around for you guys, and I will put the links in the text below. Okay, because I don't want you to feel like you have to do it with this kit if you don't want to or you can't. Okay? Alright, so onwards and upwards. Now, I'm not going to do a full flip through because Victoria Designs does that. So you can go to their YouTube channel and look up Winter Cottage, and I will bet you $10 there's a flip through. If there's not, make it in the comments, and then I'll see what I can do. Oh, it won't matter because I'll have this whole series done by the time you see it, and I won't see your comments in time to change anything for the videos. Okay? All I'll be able to see are your comments about the video that you've seen. So, but I do answer every comment, every single one, and I read every single one. So if you want to leave me some comments, that would be great. I have 2 Facebook groups now. One is Sweet Pea Papers, and the other one is Junk Journal Tutorials and Junk Journal Tutorials and More. I don't know why I couldn't spit that out. And I'll put the links to those below. So you should go check those out. We're a pretty fun group, and you can post your Etsy stores and on Tuesdays, on Thursdays, and your YouTube channels, not just videos. On Tuesdays, Freebie Fridays, where we get freebies from some of the designers that are members. And on Sunday, we say hello to all of our new people. Okay, so that's what we do over there. And you know what I do here at Sweet Pea Papers YouTube channel, because that's where you are now. Alright, so let's get going here. So we've got the pages, the journal pages, and they're very, very pretty. There's animals and all kinds of cottages. There's some, and winter, it's all in the winter, which is what I wanted because of this time of year. It's January. And there's a couple, like this one's Deck the Halls, which is kind of Christmassy, which I may use the page anyway, but probably not. You know, I probably won't use that one half of that one page. And there's lots of moose and deer. Let me kind of go through this kind of quick, a couple pages at a time. That kind of looks like a Christmas wreath, so I probably won't use that page. There's a couple, maybe 2 or 3. Like this one is wintertime, so this one we can use. So that's good. So we've got all these pages. Oh, that's cute. I like that. Anyway, they're almost watercolor. The animals. Okay. So that's those. Okay, and I've printed on the backs of them already. And I just took the backing pages, the ones that were like this and like this, and I just printed 4 of them or 5 of them, and then printed 5 of a different one, 5 of a different one, 5 of a different one that were able to be written on. And that's how I printed on the backs. I just did it randomly. There was no rhyme or reason. I didn't look at the front of the pages and make any kind of decision. I just went through and randomly printed on the backs, ones that you could write on. Ooh, I'm running out of air. I still have 2 fractured ribs, so, well, possibly 2, definitely 1. All right, so these are the backing pages. I like this one. I like them all, but I mean, I especially like that one. Lots of nice patterns. A couple of the large images. I don't think I'll be able to use them as covers. I might be able to if I move it around. Like this would make a nice cover. I think I could make that work. We're going to do a lap book. So that'll be fun. If we have enough pages left over, we'll do a small companion book. This is the ephemera. Words are a little bit big. I kind of wish I had printed them on half pages. See how big the words are? I may reprint that in a smaller print. Some of these are not printed on the back, like these would all be glued to the page, so there's no reason to print on the back of them. And these are the same. See, I could print these 2 pages on one, 5 by 7 each, and the words would be smaller. I may do that because I like to use the words, but they're way too big for our project. These are just ones that I printed accidentally, front and back at the same time, double-sided. And I didn't do it right, and so they're upside down. But that doesn't mean we can't use one side, you know, or the other. We could still use them. We just can't use them as pages in a book where you'd see one and then the other, because they're upside down to each other. This one goes this way and the other one goes the other way. Then we're also going to make a little book, a little bitty version, like this. And these are printed front and back, and they did come out right. Yay me. So we're going to make a little book, and I'm going to try to make space for it in the lap book, a place to put it. And then we'll have this little book inside there, and we'll have a companion book to the lap book, and it'll be a nice big project for us. And like I said, I have no idea how many videos this is going to take, and so I'm going to end this part right here, and then when I come back, actually, let me tell you this. Let me tell you the sizes that we need for the cover. Okay? You're going to need 2 pieces of cardboard. Now you can use the medium weight chipboard. You can use lightweight chipboard if you glue 2 pieces together. Or you can use cereal box cardboard or something like that, as long as you glue 2 together. So when I say 2 at such and such, then you would need 4 so that you can glue them together, 2 and then 2 to make it thicker. Okay? So we're 2 at 8 3/4 wide by 8 1/2 tall. And that because these are a little bit smaller when you trim the edges, and you can't print them full page because, or borderless, because you lose part of the image around the edge. So you have to print it fit to page is fine, as long as you've got that little bit of a border, then that means you'll have the whole picture. Okay, so I'm going to go back to this. So we need 2 at 8 3/4 by 8 1/2. Those are going to be our 2 large pieces of the back of the book. And we're going to have 2 pieces at 8 1/2 by 8 1/2, because they're going to be 8.5 tall. They're going to be the same, but then they're only going to be 8.5 long, because when you fold them in and then you fold the in like this, that part can't be the same length or the same width, or it won't fold in all the way. It won't close. So we need 2 at 8 3/4 by 8.5, 2 at 8.5 by 8.5. We need 2 at 1.5 by 8.5. Those are our small spines. And then we need 1 at 3 by 8.5, which is our big spine, which is double the little ones. Okay, so that's what I'm going to cut. And I'll put the measurements on the screen, and then you'll have those that you can write down. You can just pause the video and then write them down right off the screen. And then when we come back, we'll make the cover, and then we'll go into the papers and such. Okay? All right. I'll see you in just 1 second, and we'll start on the cover. Okay, we're all back here finished with our preparation. Now, this is what I ended up with. I have a little system that I have for my ephemera, so you may not have a little system. So I've got these pieces that are like your banner things that you put your words in. These are a little large, and I'll show you why in just a second. But there are smaller ones that we can use, and or you can print this page out, except they're all on different pages, so never mind. And then there's these smaller ones, which is the ones we'll probably use. We've got a couple of tickets. We've got a lot of these little borders and pieces of quote-unquote tape. Quite a few circles, which I like circles. Then we've got this little container of little tiny ephemera. Now, the reason I have little tiny ephemera and not ephemera this size is because for a a lap book, these are way too big in most cases. If they're not, then I can go back and cut these out. But what I did was I took this page and this page, this page and this page, and I printed them 2 to a page, and I set the setting at 2 5x7s on one page. Okay, and that gave me the little bitty ones for the smaller words, which are here, which I like a lot better. So instead of this size, I have this size, which is much more manageable for me, especially in a lap book. Okay, then I did the same thing, 2 5x7s on one page. You may notice that on here, this one has a black rectangle around the words, and that's so my scan and cut will cut that all out as one piece with the black border instead of try to cut out all the letters. If I were to leave it like this, which is nice that they put their little message across here about signing up for their newsletter, it's a great idea. But it's a real pain in the rear for your scan and cut, so you need to go through and make that black square, or take a larger Sharpie and just draw a line right through it so you can't see any of the letters. Make sure to get their logo here too, and cover that up so your scan and cut sees it as one large image instead of all the individual letters. Okay? So then I also have the larger ephemera, which is down here, and the pockets, and the 3 mini file folders. I love these. And there's lots of pockets this time. I think they're catching on that we need pockets. There's 2 large pockets, which are great. I think these will be good on our back pages. Or even the next one up will be fine. And then here's an envelope. There's tickets and tags. And a lot of this stuff I had to outline to get my scan and cut to cut it out because the borders are so light. So it's easier for me to draw the outline than it is to cut out by hand. This took me about a day to do all this, and I've got more here to show you in just a second. But that's because I have issues with my hands and with my back. So it takes me longer to sit and cut and or stand at the scanning cut than it may some of you. So you might want to just count half a day for the ephemera and cutting the papers. So now I've cut the papers. Let me set this down. I've cut the papers. I've cut the white off the edges. Then I took each page afterwards and I folded it in half. Now if your printer prints a border that's equal all the way around, mine's crazy and it doesn't. It prints a double border at one end. I don't know why. So I have to cut them out first and then fold them in half, make a little pinch mark, and then cut it in half on that little pinch mark, because that's going to be half. If you have a printer that makes equal borders all the way around, just cut it in half at 5 1/2 and then trim the white borders off. So I've got all these. So instead of 24 pages, I have 48 pages. There's a few we're not going to use because they're obviously Christmas. So we're going to use all the winter ones instead. Then I have the background papers. Then I have the papers that we're going to use to build the cover, which we're going to start here in just 1 second. And that's just cream colored 8 1/2 by 11 cardstock. I also have the pieces for the cover. Oh wait, I've also picked out the cover pages. Okay, so I printed them at borderless. Even though I knew I was going to lose a little bit of this image, you can see the image is just a pattern anyway, so it doesn't really matter. And we're going to have to cut it anyway. So these are what our covers are going to be, and I printed them at 8 1/2 by 11 borderless. Now, the pieces for the cover, let me get these out of the way. Oops. Okay. Let me move this in the ephemera off my desk. Hold on. Because it takes a lot of room to do this. I may have to move my coffee. So what we've got, we need 4, I think, pieces of cream colored paper. Looks like I got 5 here. Looks like I've got 5, not look like I got 5. Nope, I have 6. Okay, and what we're going to do, so we've got 4 pieces of cream colored paper. Now the sizes of the cover depend on the size of the paper that you've got. What I do is I add a 1/4 of an inch on, that gives me an 1/8 of an inch all the way around, you know, from putting the image on as a border. You can do it dead on and just put it straight on there. I wouldn't recommend it. So our pages are like 5 1/4. So we've got 5 1/2 by 8 3/4. That's what the height is after we cut them and then put the 1/4 on for the bump, you know, for the edge. So we've got 2 of those. Those are our smaller covers, because we need 2 bigger covers and 2 smaller covers, remember, because we're going to fold them in like this, and if we fold them in and they're the same size as this is deep, as this is wide, they'll bump into it and you won't be able to close the book. So you've got to give a little bit of space for the fold to happen. So we've got 5 1/2 by 8 3/4 for the 2 smaller covers. And we've got 5 3/4 by 8 3/4. Yes, pretend like I didn't do that. I used up my cereal boxes and I had to resort to breaking the law. 5 3/4 by 8 3/4 for our 2 larger covers. We've got 1 3-inch spine, and of course it's 8 3/4 tall. And we've got 2 1 1/2 inch spines. and they're 8 3/4 inches tall. Okay, so now in order to make the cover, it's going to be a really long cover. We are going to, let's see, what am I going to do? I'll put them up here. We're going to glue these onto the paper. Now we need to prep the paper a little bit first. Oh, and I've numbered these in the order that they're going to get glued onto the paper. 1, and then a spine. 2, which is a big one, which is where, what's it? Oh, this is a small one, I'm sorry. 3, which is a larger one. Okay, now I'm not going to put any gap in here just so you can see. 3, 4, which is our 3-inch spine. 5, oh, I did this wrong. 5, which is our other big spine, or our other big cover. See, I numbered them wrong. 3, 4, this is 5. And this is 7. Yes, I know I draw a little line through the 7. It's just so I can tell it from my 1s. Okay, so, and then we're going to have, I know this is going off the screen, and then we're going to have another small spine, and then we're going to have another small cover at the end, over here. Okay, so that's the order. So let's just pick them up that way. So now we're going to take our paper, I should have filled my glue up a little bit more, and we need to hook them together with just a little bit of an overlap, and it has to be long enough for me to glue those pieces onto. However, I'm going to make a 1-inch mark so that I can line them all up evenly. Now, I normally put the whole thing together and then try to draw a 1-inch line all the way across. I'm going to do it different this time. And I'm going to draw a 1-inch line on here before I glue them together. I think it'll help me glue them together straight as well. The 1 inch is to give us space to flip the bottom up. I don't know why that looks crooked to me. Why does that look crooked? They're both 1 inch. I think I have a problem. They always look crooked to me. And I just call this prepping the papers, because if you don't do this, it's so easy to get your cover cardboards crooked. Which isn't that big of a deal if you're putting them up higher on the page, if you're putting them in the center and then trimming around, because it doesn't matter as long as you have 1 inch. But I don't do it that way. I put them on the bottom line, and then I just trim the top and one side, instead of trimming all 4. Seems more efficient that way. Even though it does take a hot second to do this, but it's not that long. Looks like my sweater sleeves are not going to stay up. May have to roll it up. I don't want to get it in the glue is the reason why. Otherwise I would love to stay warm. As we all know, I'm always freezing. Oh, I still had 5. I'm just drawing 1-inch borders. I'm not paying attention. The only reason I'm doing this with the 1 inch in the middle is it's easier for me to draw a mark in here than it is at the very end. I don't know why. It's just me. Feel free to do it the correct way. Okay, so now we're going to glue these together. Let me do this. And then push it up and see if that stays better. Hopefully I don't have to take my bracelets off. But I might because of this part. So we're going to glue them together. Just a thin bead of glue. Except for that part where I started thinking about something different and ended up going right off the page. So I have a little bit of a thick spot right there. Fix that. And we'll take the next one. And we'll overlap it. Lining up our 1-inch lines. Check the other side for any glue seepage. Which there's a little right here. I'm using Fabri-Tac. Okay. Stay gluing on the same side. You know, when you flip it over to check for glue, don't start gluing on that side and then flip back and glue on that side. Keep the gluing on the same side. Ta-ta. The line does make it easier to overlap them, I've just discovered. So you do get done with this quicker, so you save time there too. I didn't check for glue seepage because I did a really good job of going right along the edge. See? Now right there I've got a chance for the glue to come through. What is wrong with me? So I'm going to have to check this really well. I'm going to get this up. I'm using a glass surface so I can just roll the glue up by rubbing on it. Fabri-Tac gives you a minute, so it's alright that I didn't, why didn't I glue that all the way down? I see a problem. This one's crooked. Or it looks like that one's the one that's crooked. Put the pin in the glue. I got a little carried away and now it's bubbling over. And that looks straight. And that's also at 1 inch. Must mean my overlap is crooked. Alright, well, we'll just keep putting them on straight. I don't know how I managed to do that. Alright, let's check the other side for glue. Alright. It's a little hard to keep the cream colored paper clean, but okay. We're going to go about 1 inch in. You can measure it if you like. And remember, we're folding the paper up and we're folding it in, so you're not going to see the pencil lines. Okay, and right where that corner is where we're going to start with the pieces. So, piece number 1 is our first smaller cover. And it's the 2 pieces of cardboard cereal box glued together. And I want to do it this way. When you glue the cereal boxes together, make sure you glue shiny side to shiny side so that you have the cardboard facing out on both sides and not the cereal part. That way you don't have to worry about the cereal image or whatever it is from whatever cereal you ate or didn't eat. In my case, I raided ahead of time and I've got bags of cereal sitting in my kitchen now instead of boxes. Anyway, that way it doesn't show through. I usually buy my food a month's worth at a time, so I buy four boxes of the same cereal. I love the cereal that I eat. Eating it every day is not a problem. Special K with red berries. Call them strawberries. So we're going to put this piece in here. Like so. Maybe I should have written that in pencil. No, it'll be covered. Next is the first of the small spines. Yes, and I really am not happy with having the red on there. Wonder if the red's going to show through. I'm covering the spines anyway, so I guess it'll be alright because I can see that big red bar a little bit. If you were using darker paper, it wouldn't matter. You know what? If we put it towards the inside, then the fold over will cover it. So we'll do that. I recommend covering the whole spine with glue so that the paper doesn't bubble up when you fold your book. And then we're going to leave a space to fold. Let me leave about that much. Now see, if I'd have left that facing towards the front, there's no fold over on the front, so you would have seen it through the paper a little bit. I mean, we're covering them anyway, but still, just to make sure. Then we're gluing the first of our larger spines, which we're going to do the same thing. We're going to glue this towards the inside. Totally did not think about that. I could have glued pieces of cream colored paper over the top of each of those, but it would have left a bump, if you know what I mean. So apparently, if you're using cream colored paper, you really shouldn't use, well, you're not supposed to use these anyway, but if you're down to no cardboard and you need to make a video, then desperation sets in. Oh, I did it backwards, didn't I? It's far enough in, the paper's going to cover it. I put the glue on the wrong side. I wanted the white side on the inside. I was yapping. Okay, we're going to leave a little space. You can see this cardboard's cut crooked, so this part's going to be a little bit bigger in the middle. I had to cut this by hand, which I was surprised I got it that straight. Should have run it through the trimmer once, straightened up that edge, but I don't think I realized. Well, obviously I didn't realize, or I would have done something about it. I think I'm still going to push that a little bit closer at the bottom. Okay. Hopefully that doesn't throw the whole thing off. Oh, look at that. It does. What is wrong with this? Wow, that piece is really crooked, isn't it? Alright, let me put you on pause. I'm going to have to make a new piece for here. I don't know what I did. I just waited for the glue to dry and then I trimmed the crooked edge. So this should be straight now. Let me double check. This will also give me the opportunity. It's still not. Unless this isn't. Oh, it's definitely not straight. This is 1/8 of an inch off. So it was the little spine and not the big one that was off. Let's see if we can still get it off. Okay. That way we don't waste the paper. So it's supposed to be 1.5 by 8 3/4. I don't know how I did that. I had a time with these, just so you know. So I'm going to steal this one. I'm going to double check the measurement. Looks straight. 1.5. 1.5. And then I'm going to, that's where the Sharpie marker was. Oh no. So I guess we're going to have to put it with the Sharpie marker on the inside. Note to self, don't put glue over where the Sharpie marker is. Or I could use note to self and not put glue over the Sharpie marker. And then I'll cut another 1.5 by 8 3/4. After I do this one and this one, then I'll put you on pause and I'll finish the last two and save you some time. Do not put glue where the Sharpie marker is. Which is fine. It's in the middle of the page. Or the piece. So I should have marked it in pencil. I just wanted to make sure you could see it on camera. Alright, let's try that again. Okay, and then we put the big one next to it. There's our number 3. It says thank you for using priority mail, so I'm using it. It's not an excuse. I should quit making jokes about it. You really shouldn't do this. Do not do what I do. Do what I say. Apparently, since I can't glue simple pieces of cardboard to a piece of paper. Now, because I'm putting these little thin beads of glue in the center, if I want to take this up, I probably won't be able to. Just so you know, it's because of the thicker area on the corners that I'm able to pull them up after that length of time. Okay. Much better. You want to make sure you've got enough that's the thickness of this cardboard, so when you turn it or when you fold it, that it will fold and not hit this. Okay? Alright, so I'm going to do the big spine, then another big cover, then a little spine, and a little cover. Okay, so I'm just going to do them in the order that they're numbered and continue to go all the way across. Alright, I'm going to put you on hold till I finish. Alright, everything's glued. Now, I just waited for the glue to dry on this and then I trimmed it. So everything's glued down. Now, I came to a problem. Because of the particular sizes of this particular cover, this last one, the fold came up right on the seam. So when you flip it over, you can see that this is very, very close to the seam. It's right on the seam. So I glued it 3 different times because every time I folded it up, this paper popped out. But I've glued it 3 times and it seems to be all right. The actual fold is not on the seam, so I got lucky there. Otherwise, I would have had to cut this apart with the cream still on the boards, and then re-glued the papers together, and then started farther in, and hope that didn't put one of these on a border, you know, on a seam. Okay, so all I did was I bent this page up or down, depending. I bent this page this way, and then where it popped up, I just put glue in, put glue in, put glue in, and then I laid it flat, and then I rubbed it, and you can hear it crinkle when it's wet or there's air bubbles. And then I let it dry for about 10 minutes. Then I came back and checked it again, and there were still a couple little bitty spots. So I re-glued those again, and now it seems to be fine. Okay, so now you're going to want to label these. This is going to be your front cover over here, and this is going to be your back cover over here. These are going to be your two, wait a minute. This is going to be your front cover. Am I having that trouble here? Looks like I am a little bit. Maybe not enough to have to glue, but I'm going to stuff some glue in there anyway. I refilled my bottle. Get it in that seam. And then rub the excess off. Anyway, why did I do these in the wrong order? 5.5. No, I'm just holding it crooked. Okay, so this is going to be your front cover. This is going to be your top. This is going to be your back cover. And this is going to be your top. Don't write it all the way up at the top because you're going to have a border that shows. And then these are going to be the ones that fold in, but the main ones to know are your front and your back. Okay, so now we're going to flip it over, and as you can see, the top and the bottom are pretty close to being okay to just flip over. It's this end over here that we need to trim down. And I dropped the piece of board while I was gluing it on. I got glue on there. Okay, so let's cut this down. It doesn't matter if it's perfectly straight. It's going to be covered. But don't go crazy. Try to make it as straight as you can, which in my case is apparently not very. Okay, now this is where the glue comes in. You're going to glue your brains out. You're going to take and you're going to glue along this whole edge all the way down. Then you're going to glue this paper, and then you're going to fold it over, and you're going to press down like crazy to get it to stick. Okay, are you guys ready? Now I filled my bottle, so that's why I'm able to go so quickly. You want to be right up against the cardboard. Oh, you know what I didn't do? I didn't trim the corners. I'm having trouble today, aren't I? Okay, you're going to trim the corners. You're going to go in. You're going to leave a little bit. And then you're going to go back out. And you're going to do the same thing on this corner. Don't worry, this is so thick it'll be wet. And then you're going to curve. And then you're going to go back out. If we go ahead and do this end, I was going to say we could fold it down, but the glue looks pretty wet. I'm going to go in, go back out. Then we're going to go in. This is where you can see that this piece is really long. And then go back out. And now, I'm going to turn it around so the glue's at the top again. Now we're going to glue this. Get it really good where the seams are. Try to get it close to the edges. Okay, now we're going to flip this up and fold it. Kind of get it to go where you want it to go. Oh, look at that, my seam popped open. Okay. That was a waste of a lot of glue. And you're going to press down. And you're going to have emergencies. You just have to go with them. Like I've already fixed the seam twice. Well, actually in 3 places, just to make double sure on that one. This is just a funny sized cover, so I'm having funny sized problems. Let's turn it over. Yeah, I think I'm going to end up cutting these apart and starting over. This is not working out well right here, right here. Alright, I'm going to put you on pause and fix all this. Okay, I came back for just a second. I didn't realize how much time had gone by. I should have, because this was a total disaster, but you'll learn from my mistake, and life will go on. So what I wanted to show you was I used my straight edge. Yes, I did. I went near a blade and I just cut along the edges and cut the paper off, and so now I've got this, which is going to be better for our cover anyway. It'll give us a double coating of cream on the front. So we're going to want to make sure that we glue the cream side down to the paper, and that will give us that double coating of cream on the front. Okay, now I'm going to move them over. I'm going to glue the 4 pieces of paper together, and then on my starting edge, instead of starting at 1 inch, I'm going to go over a little bit more and glue on the line. And this time I'm going to lay it out, and I'm going to check where the seams are. That was a problem that I didn't do, or that I didn't do that was a problem. So yeah, so that's what's going to happen while I'm off camera, and then when I come back, we'll be back with the cover glued on. To do the other 3 sides, you just do the exact same thing. You just glue it, and you put glue on the side. You should kind of bend it a little bit so that it knows where to go, and then glue it down, and then glue it and then fold it over and hold it down and smooth it out and make sure it all grabs. Okay, so when we come back, I'll have the cover done, and then we can move on to other things. Okay, I'll see you in video 2. All right, bye-bye.